Recently, we saw BlackRock applying for spot Bitcoin ETF and approval of the first leveraged Bitcoin futures ETF. Also, we saw a first broke of 31K for the Bitcoin in 2023. And you're probably wondering, is this enough to push Bitcoin price to 40K, 50K, maybe even higher? Or this is just another false breakout to the top? Stay tuned in this video and we're gonna analyze the markets and what we can expect in the soon future. Yo guys, my name is Željko and welcome to Unsymmetry. So firstly, I hope that you had a great time with the recent Bitcoin pump that we experienced. As I had on a vacation, honestly it was the first vacation in the last 5 years for me. So let's go into the topic. As I said in the introduction, BlackRock applied for the spot Bitcoin ETF, and why this is such a bullish catalyst? It's because BlackRock is the biggest asset management company in the world, with managing over 10 trillion in the funds, which is pretty much insane number. And if you think about this, BlackRock probably wouldn't even apply for spot ETF if they didn't know upfront that they will be accepted by the SEC. Afterwards, Valkyrie Funds and few other companies joined the application, and also we saw just yesterday that the Bitcoin leveraged futures ETF got approved, which pretty much increases that the spot one will be approved as well. So let's go and analyze the markets. So if we take a look into the Bitcoin chart, we can see that we had a downward trend for a while, pretty much until the news came out. Often it happens that when we have a slow downward trend like this, that we end up, once we break the support level, which was in this case 25K, that we have a sharp decline in price. And in this case, we actually had a small wick below it. We took a liquidity below 25K. And pretty much once the news came out, many people started buying and accumulating way more aggressively, which led the price to 31K and even slightly above it, which is the new high for this year. So what I expect next is probably the continuation of the trend, so either going to like 32.34K and retracing back, holding a support, and then a continuation upwards, or even a sharper increase to the price, maybe even to like 37K or something like that, which would be really nice to see. Of course, this is only a scenario if we would pretty much close the June above this line, and that would be a bullish catalyst for the July, and hopefully there we could see a continuation of the upward trends and higher prices. When this thesis would be wrong is pretty much if we go down to like 28K and we don't hold a support there, then pretty much it would be good to exit your positions, take profits, and that's pretty much my approach. 27K is also a solid support, but if we break below it, there is a good possibility that we can go again at like $20,000 range. I don't believe that this is very likely scenario. I think that going upwards is way more likely at the current situation, but you never know exactly how the markets are going to react, and especially since there are many bad macro news around us recently, and we can only hope that there isn't any of them hitting the crypto market specifically. If we look into the RSI, we can see that we just broke 70 points, which means that we are in overbought territory. But as you already probably know, we can stay in this overbought territory for a while, and this is what I expect in this case. If we take a look into the funding rate and open interest, we can see that we had a negative funding rate in this area, which is again a bullish sign usually, and we have an increased open interest that is actually following the price action, which is a good thing as well. One thing that is slightly bearish is if we take a look into the S&P 500, because usually in the recent periods we can see a high correlation of the Bitcoin price with the S&P 500 price, and in the recent times that's not the case. We had like a catalyst that hit only the crypto markets when it was highly bullish. And also we had a period where the Bitcoin price was slowly decreasing or it was in a stagnation, while the S&P 500 price was increasing a lot. So the thing that would be good to see in the S&P 500 is that we hold the support at 4.3k and that we start going up again. And that would be a good signal for the crypto as well, assuming that these two prices gonna correlate more and more over time in the long time frame. If we take a look into the Bitcoin dominance, we can see that the Bitcoin dominance pretty much skyrocketed recently, while the altcoins are going more and more and they're bleeding heavily in comparison to Bitcoin. I see so many videos and so many people speculating like these are the altcoins that will make you rich during the next bull market, even though they're down on their positions like 50-60% or even more. So currently I believe that it's still not a time for that, and that a good time to go into the alts will be actually once we get a sharp decline in the Bitcoin price. So honestly, I don't expect that this will happen in June. I don't expect that this will happen in July, to be honest. So we still have a time to research these alts, and probably many alts that will have such a good performance in the next bull market are not even out yet, or they haven't showed any bullish performance, especially if you compare it to the price of Bitcoin. Yeah, there are some like Pepe, but I still feel that many people think that the Bitcoin is the best way to go, and it will definitely be for a while. And I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, I'm just being realistic at the current stage of the market that we are in currently. Even if you take a look at the coin market cap and you look at the 30-day performance, 60-day performance, you can see, there are some altcoins that outperform Bitcoin, but there is so few of them that if you invested in like 10 different ones, you are most likely losing in comparison to the increase of the Bitcoin price. Another thing which I like to look into when I'm looking if I should go more in or if I should pull the profits out is the GMX data and open interest and trader net P&L. And usually what I like to see is I like to see that many people are taking profits, and that's usually the time when you actually want to take profits as well, because that means that it's highly likely that the markets might retrace, and the opposite pretty much once you see a bearish candle like this, that usually means that people will start buying and accumulating more afterwards. Same applies for the open interest. Pretty much the more percentage of the people that are actually longing the markets, there is higher odds that the markets will pull back. The more people that are shorting, the more likely is that we're gonna continue going up until many of them actually get liquidated from the market. I know that this sometimes sounds opposite of the logic and the trend that you would expect to see, but this pretty much means that many of the retail people are actually losing their money. One more thing that is finally good is stablecoins, and this is like pretty much the first week after a while where we saw that there is like more stablecoins in this week than in the previous one. Again, we can see a downwards continuation pretty much of everything besides USDT and maybe USDC to some point. We're gonna see how this will go in the future, but I would like to see the market cap of stablecoins increasing as we saw during the previous bull run and pretty much during the past. I also wanted to analyze Litecoin price. At one of the videos I mentioned that this might be the best time frame to sell your altcoin. Now again, it depends on how Bitcoin price will react, and I still believe that it's best to exit your Litecoin position and maybe transfer it to Bitcoin or something else. Obviously, we won't see a sharp decline in Litecoin, and this might be just a short squeeze before we see our next pullback, and we can see a formation where we are getting lower highs and lower lows, which is not very bullish in a longer time frame. And as you saw in the previous videos, pretty much usually once we get to this area, we start decreasing sharper and sharper downwards. So I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the market. What do you think is 40-50k realistic? I think it's a bit too early to discuss that. We need to see how the markets will react and then act based on it. I also intend to do a rebranding of the channel because I realized asymmetric is pretty much impossible to find due to Google autocorrect. So the channel might have different name once you watch the next video. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing. Have a great day. Stay strong and healthy. Bye.